I don't know if our friend Mike Maniscalco, the voice of the Carolina Hurricanes, falls into the same boat. Have you lived here longer than you have lived anywhere else, or Buffalo? How long did you were born and raised in Buffalo. How long did you live there?
25 years in Buffalo. This is my 18th year in Raleigh.
See, it's close.
I didn't expect you to read my tweet on the air, Adam. I'm sorry about that.
Well, which one? It wasn't this one. It was the other one. Mike Maniscalco is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I've been here now 28 years. I lived in the New York area for 18. And then I lived in Washington and Baltimore, which is really the same. I know they're two different cities, totally different vibes, but that same area for a little bit more than 10 years. I've been here since 98, so I got nowhere else to go. I feel like Richard Gere in Officer and a Gentleman.
I am almost, if you include my stop in Richmond, Virginia, it is almost exactly 25 years out of Buffalo. So, because I moved to Richmond in 2001. Yep. So, and when we hit October 1st, it'll be 18 years here in Raleigh, North Carolina. So, and you said it's a great place to live. Everybody, I think that's what everybody's figured out who isn't from the area, and the people who are from here know it. So, yeah, it's good, and it's great to see. Think of when you first got here, and then when I got here, that 11-year gap or 10-year gap, and everything that is blossomed here in the Triangle and in Raleigh in that time.
Yeah, I got here year one of the Hurricanes. I mean, I was midstream, but I went to playoff games. I went to that series against Boston at the Greensboro Coliseum in 1998 as we transition to finally watching people skate around and play hockey on Monday night, and we're going to see it again tonight. I probably have questions about both for you, but let's talk about the fact that we are going to see the top line of Aho, Ehlers, and Jarvis tonight. What is your excitement level for that?
It's really good because this is, I think, on paper, a line that if you're the Carolina Hurricanes, you know what you're going to get out of it. And in the way that they play, the speed and tempo that they can control and dominate a shift if they get everything going, I think that Nick Ehlers is going to be really good. And as you know, he wants to be Nikolaj in print and on the broadcast, but he's a super good guy. I actually talked to him this morning after the morning skate, Adam, and he's just excited to knock the rust off and be a part of this trio and what they can do. So, look, it's a preseason game. I'm not saying that they're going to go out and get 9 points, but I actually did ask Rod brind'amour about it for a player like Nikolaj Ehlers to get this out of the way. And Rod said that's a good way to put it. You just get it. Now you can see what he can do with this group, but they just from my sense, and I've been a big fan of Nikolaj Ehlers watching him play in Winnipeg. He was like always the guy who never got talked about when we were talking about the Jets. And he's one of those guys who the way that the Canes play, it might be perfectly suited for him. And again, it might not all click a little bit because it's a new team, new teammates. Systems are similar, but still a few changes that you want to get under your belt. But tonight, that's the anticipation for me, watching that line and see, all right, how much do they click? And let's face it, Florida is throwing out a minor league team against the Carolina Hurricanes tonight.
As I said before Monday's game, Tampa's uniforms are in town. Florida's uniforms are also in town. Now, as somebody who needs to identify players, it seems at times if you get the number on the back, easier to see the numbers in the white uniforms, but the shoulders, I have a hard time picking up the numbers on the shoulders.
Yeah, that's not going to happen for me. I got a year older, and as we all know, things don't really start getting sharp when you cross over 50. But no, from the back, and that was a good thing. Like the back of the numbers are clear. You try to pick up what the line combinations would be, but I did like how the new uniforms look. There have been certain new uniforms that teams have displayed, and you can't read the back nor the shoulders for the numbers if that's what you're trying to do. So you're trying to figure out the players by how they skate, the hand that they are, and all of that. And especially when it's all players who are practicing split squat to try to figure that out. But no, I liked what the uniforms looked like. I thought that they popped. It's always anytime you do something new, there's half the camp that says it's great, half the camp that wants the oldest thing that they ever had. So for the broadcaster and doing it on the radio side, they were actually much better than I was anticipating they were going to be.
Mike Maniscalco, we start at 6 o'clock tonight. The pregame show will be 5:30 for those of us listening locally here on 99.9 The Fan. Let me get – Rod Brind'amour talked about it. And my read on game one for Bradley Nadeau was, man, he's going to need another one. It was a little bit messy. I thought we had one shot where he got off a rocket one-timer. He missed the net in the third period a couple of times. But I said this about Jackson Blake last year. I thought he made the team in the last preseason game by all the stuff he did away from the puck, defensively, hounding the puck. And I thought that's where Bradley Nadeau hurt himself Monday. The two giveaways in the first period. I appreciate Rod putting him right back out there.
No, one fair assessment, and it's coming off of the heels of an absolutely brilliant prospect showcase for him.
Yeah.
He might have been the best player out of all of the teams that were there with Tampa, Florida, Nashville, and Carolina. But the thing I like what Rod Brind'amour is doing tonight, he's putting him not just back on the ice, right back on the ice after that game where there were teachable, and I like to call it teachable moments for players like that. He's 20 years old. I think we also have to put that into account. But you're going to put him on a line with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Andrei Svechnikov. At least that's what it looked like at the morning skate. And he's a goal scorer. He's an offensive force right now. So put him in that position where he can succeed and feel good about it. And he'll have some veteran players who can come back and, help him out in his own zone if it comes down to it, if you have to play there. Ideally, he'll spend the majority of his shifts in the offensive end. But no, that's the right thing. And the one thing, if we can bring this up, and now it's season number 8 of Rod Brind'amour behind the bench, Adam, look at what he's done with so many of these young players, putting them in positions to succeed and early and giving them, it's going to sound, Pollyannish, but, you're empowering these players to go out and be their best instead of in years past in the NHL. Oh, you're a rookie. You're going to get 6.5 minutes tonight. And I hope you don't turn over the puck because that's going to be cut in half if you do that. So that's the good thing to look for here tonight. Also excited to see Charles Alexis Legault get another opportunity. I know you and I have talked about him. I don't know if he is a guy who can crack this top 7 out of camp if everybody's healthy. We have to put that asterisk next to it. But to give the young guys, okay, get back out on the ice against this competition and let's see what you can do. But I think that this is for Nadeau. The funny thing, and if you heard the sound from this morning, Rod kind of hinted at it. It's counterintuitive, but you don't want to do too much because that's when you get into problems. Tonight, just go and play. Don't worry about anything else.
Mike Maniscalco is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Here's the thing about Charles Alexis Legault. Didn't play a ton in Monday night's game. I thought he was very good in the first period, and I thought he had moments the last 2 periods, but I thought he was really good, and I thought noticeable in the first period. But you talked about you don't know if he can crack the top 7. I agree. There's probably no spot on the roster for anybody who wasn't here last year, plus Nick Ehlers and Keandre Miller. But we haven't seen – Slavin has skated once. Miller didn't practice, and Chatfield hasn't practiced recently. So I don't know how much inside info you have. I certainly don't have any. But we don't know what the status is for those 3 players as we head towards October 9th against the New Jersey Devils. They might need a right-shot defenseman by the time we get to that point.
No, it's a definite possibility, and this is where you give all of the credit to Legault that he has put himself in position and on the radar to, if that's the case, he could be a guy with this team. I've talked about this with a couple of people. The best thing for him, you don't want him to be here and not play. You want him to play at his age and what he's doing. So I am going to hope against all hope, and this is nothing against Charles Alexis Legault, that he starts the year in Chicago and that the Canes are healthy on the blue line when New Jersey comes to town October 9th. And, Rod has said it repeatedly. These are things where if this is the regular season, it wouldn't even be a question. These guys would play. But why? And that's what the preseason has become. And I don't want to, be anti-establishment here, but I don't mind it. I don't. The preseason now for me, Adam, is just get everybody out healthy. Where it used to be, okay, let's get them into shape. These guys are all in shape.
Yeah.
And why would you even risk if there's something with Jacob Slavin or Jalen Chatfield or Keandre Miller to put them in a game that really, in the end of the day, means nothing because we know what these guys are about and we know how they can play. If there was a question of are they going to make the roster or what's going to work out with these guys, then yeah, those games are important for the younger players. These games are important for Bradley Nadeau, for Charles Alexis Nadeau. But Jacob Slavin, he's this player who I watch and we've talked about for years. He doesn't need to skate.
No.
If they say he's ready October 9th, I'll believe it, just the way that he can play in his ability. The other two players, again, if somebody's got a bump or a bruise or something doesn't feel right, why put them at risk of straining something if you don't have to? But if they're not there, I from what I've seen, and this is no inside information, but from what I've seen, Legault has put himself in a position where the Canes might give him, especially 2 games at home against opponents that in New Jersey and Philadelphia, where you can give him minutes in certain situations to help him out if you have to bump somebody up if somebody's not available to open the season.
You can shield him. You can absolutely control who he's playing against. Mike Maniscalco is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. One quick thing I want to go back to the other night. Alexander Nikishin. The hit was ridiculous, right? We saw it unfold. He was coming from the right side of the rink. Dylan Duke, bless his heart, carrying the puck. Didn't work out for him in the end, although he's fine. He got right back up. Good for him. It was a clean hit. But you could tell that Alexander Nikishin does play with bad intentions, and they have not had anybody that plays with bad intentions. Who was the last Hurricane who played that? Might have been Gleason, right?
Yeah, Tim Gleason. Tim Gleason is the one guy who comes to mind. Jay Harrison played with a physical edge to his game when he was back there because he needed to. But, the thing now, Keandre Miller has that to his game too. And now you got 2 in the back end who don't mind hitting, don't mind, in the words of former Carolina Hurricanes coach who'll be behind the bench for Florida tonight, Paul Maurice, who don't mind playing the physical game. So it's good for Carolina. And the thing for that game that stood out for me with Nikishin, and this is just what I want to see out of him this year, is as the game went on, he got better. And he was doing noticeably good things with the puck. He got caught in one shift that was really long, and at the end of it,
it was after the power play
up the boards, and exactly. He makes a smart play up the boards and gets off the ice. So when it all falls into place for him, but he's remember the old Nike commercial with Dennis Hopper. Bad Things Man. I believe it was for it was the Bruce Smith commercial, I think, for the Nike shoe.
Yes.
Nike can pay us later for the plug, but it's a Bad Things Man. Like he has that to him. And by the way, are you sure you're not from here? You said bless his heart for Dylan Duke. I mean, that is as south as southern can get.
I say y'all also. So, but I'll tell you,
that goes over big in Brooklyn. I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I put this out there. It doesn't bother me to admit it. I've never felt. I called it sweet tea, and then my buddy Tim said it's just tea. Yeah. You don't have to call it. I'm not into it. I'm not into Brunswick stew either. It's all right. It's okay.
No, it's like when people tell me buffalo wings. No, they're just wings.
Just wings.
Fine. We know what they are. Just wings. Yeah.
I'll see you in a few minutes.
You got it.
Mike Maniscalco, the voice of your Carolina Hurricanes.